Hiya, Paul. How long ago did you decide you wanted to make a Celtic sword and why? I think it was about 5 years ago, Paul. I've been making my knives and I think it was just a natural progression from there, really. I've watched a lot of videos and of course the algorithms take you from one thing to another that's, you know, in that sort of genre. So I think that was like a natural progression for me. Not only that, it was because it was bronze, you could cast it, you see. They didn't forge bronze, they cast bronze, so it was easy for me because I've got a background of casting. So yeah, that was it, about 5 years ago. Stage 1, the repair. So that's that done. That's one job out the way. Next thing is to concentrate on making the doing the sword with the clay. But we're getting there now. So stand by for the next session. Hey, Pop. You come to have a look? Eh? You come to have a look? You're a good girl, aren't you? Been helping, haven't you? Where did you get the specifications for the sword from? Just research, Paul. They do range, the blade length ranges from for the short leaf sword. That's the design that mine's called. It's called a leaf sword. So it was shorter than the straight long swords. They range from 18 inch to 22, 23 inches in actual blade length. Well, my blade length is 18 inches. The full length is 23 inches. 22 inches, sorry. It's 22 inches, the full length. Yeah, just a specification, just researched it, and I wanted to get it as accurate as I could. Great job. Took a bit of doing. What period in time does this style of sword originate and who was it used by? From what I've read, it originated in Italy, the actual design, and obviously came down through the continent and reached the UK and Scotland and Ireland, but mainly used by the Celts. You can see the design, say it originated in Italy, you can see that the design of the Roman swords, the steel swords that came later, the iron swords, were more or less the same shape. A little bit narrower was the Roman sword, but yeah, that's where it originated, and 13th century BC. Big reveal. Let's see what we've got. That looks excellent to me. So that's a good imprint. And there's a sword in that. It's looking good. On to casting. Question 4. Are there any examples of this type of sword in museums? Yeah, certainly. There's quite a few examples. I've seen quite a few myself. I think all museums got one or two. You've only got to look on the sites on YouTube and Facebook to see the original designs. Yeah, there's loads of them. Museums are full of them. I should imagine more so in Italy, you know, with the Roman swords and Bronze Age swords. That's where they originated. So, yeah, just go to any museum and that deals with Bronze Age, and you'll probably see swords there. Good. Let's see how this goes. Uh-oh, something tells me that wasn't enough. Well, I think there's been a bit of a disappointment there. From what I gathered, a Celtic sword, I think it's between 700 and 800 grams. Now in total, I put in 1,000 grams. 900 copper and 100 tin. 10% tin. So obviously my pattern's been too big, so I don't know what to do there. Leave it as is. Wait and see what this turns out like. One step at a time, I suppose. We'll see what happens. Let's see what kind of mess this is. Not even halfway. Not even halfway. So, I might have to slim the sword down a bit. Well guys, looking at this pattern, it doesn't seem excessive to me for a sword. I don't know. Too thick, I don't know. I would have thought it would have been alright. Could maybe slim it down a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I'm really pleased that the metal's got all the way down the bottom. It's hot enough to get right the way down to the bottom. It was just totally not enough metal. So everything worked okay apart from that. It's not enough metal. I shall reassess. What went wrong when the first attempt failed? And how did you feel? Basically, it was an error in the pattern. I'd made the pattern a little bit too thick. Consequently, the measured amount that I'd put in wasn't enough to fill the mould. So basically, that was it. That, along with, I think that the metal wasn't quite hot enough as well. So what I did is I thinned the pattern out a little bit to get round that, and I put more metal in. But what I did was I'd up the ratio as well. I put 15% tin and 85% copper. How did I feel? Gutted. A lot of work went into it, but we carry on, don't we? We try again. A bit of tin in. See how we've done. I am quite hopeful. It's looking good. I think by the time I get the grinder on that, I think that's got a handle on it. That's going to look all right. That's beautiful. That's just the job. Look at that. If at first you don't succeed, folks, you know the rest. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Great that. It's going to take a lot of work, I think, to get that how I want it. But it's looking good. Right, all the finishing now is going to be by hand. Filing and sanding and polishing. Now that's took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get to that stage on one side. After the grinding, you can see all the grind marks in that side. So there's a couple of little gas holes that I've been trying to get out. Also, this side was just slightly thicker than the other side. Right, so that's why I'm filing it flat at the moment. But when I've finished, you won't tell, because I'll take it off from the sides after. But yeah, it's coming on. It's hard work, but I like to do them by hand if I can. I mean, I only use the grinder just to get all the worst off. Right, what I need to do is try and get rid of these gas holes. Let's see if the camera will pick them up. There's a bigger one down here, there. I need to get rid of those. Now is got some 150 grit wet and dry. So nice and coarse, just to get all the scratches out from filing. It's going to be a long job this, but we'll manage it. Just nice and steady, no rush. You can feel the grit taking it off. Keep going up and up in grit, and it'll soon flatten it all off. That's 150 grit. I mean, that's pretty good as it is. You know, but I can get a nice deep shine on that as I go through the grits. 1200. That's what I'm going down to. So as you can imagine, if that's done that, and 150 grit, imagine what it's going to look like after 1000. Brilliant. Right, I'm up to 400 grit now. A little tip is when you're using wet and dry, keep plenty of water on it. Keep dipping it in the water, then it doesn't clog up. You get a free movement and it washes the grit off. Don't let it run dry. Just keep it wet. Coming up lovely now, and that's just on 400 grit. It's just nice and steady. It's not hard work really. You don't want to get into a rhythm. That's all you're doing is keeping it going with the grain. That's just 600 grit. That's looking superb. Yeah, that little bit of dullness, the more you go through the grits, the more it'll shine. Pleased with that. You pleased with it, Pop? Eh? You pleased with it? Yeah, you're going to lie down in front of the fire, aren't you? There you go. 1000 grit. One more to go. That's quite a deep shine. Looking good. You agree, Pop? Yeah, you agree, don't you? Good girl. How did they make them, and how is that compared to how you make yours? Well, yeah, obviously they didn't have crucibles like we have, but they would just make a indentation in the clay, build the fire on top, build some sort of surround round, and they used to smelt ore, copper ore, raw, you know, get the copper out that way. Mix it with a tin or whatever they were going to mix it with, you know. Generally tin, copper and tin. So yeah, I mean, you could say it's more or less the same way as the way I do it, because they would still have to make a mould. Nice bit of green heart, courtesy of Mr. Darren Leanthe Kettle. Thank you very much, Darren. I think it'll look nice when that's polished up. Right, time for the filing. Filing of the handle. How did you learn to make the sword? YouTube. Fantastic tool is YouTube. Although I've had previous experience in moulding, casting. I used to work at a foundry. This was before I took my apprenticeship when I was a young lad. I worked in a foundry, moulding, doing aluminium, bronze, brass, copper. So I just learnt the trade that way when I was younger. And I applied it to making the sword. Having watched a few videos as well, just to refresh me, and I knew I had a pattern to make, and then a mould to make, and then just pour it. Yeah. You're happy with that? How does it feel to now have achieved your goal? Yeah, it feels good. When I make anything and it works out all right, even though the first one failed, we got there in the end. And that's my philosophy. If it messes up and you know, try again, just keep going. Yeah, I've achieved my goal. I am going to make another one for my son Gary, so I'll be improving on that. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to make something that's from history, really. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Use salt water, very strong saline mix, just ordinary salt. Seems to be doing it. You have made many knives. How does this sword rank in your mind to the rest? Yeah, it's up there. It's up there with the rest because it's not a knife. It's a sword, and it's been a different method from filing knife blades to casting sword blades. Slightly different, but yeah, I really feel I've achieved something because it looks the part. It looks like a Celtic leaf sword. How does it rank? I like making knives. I'll put it that way. I really like making knives, and this was another, just another thing to do. And yeah, I enjoyed doing it, so it's all good. It's all good, and it ranks up there with the rest of them. Do you have any plans to make anything else in the future of this level of difficulty? If yes, then what would you make? Well, like I just mentioned earlier, I'm going to make another sword, so I want to improve on it. I know I can improve on it. The one thing that needs improving on is it's slightly too heavy, not over heavy, but slightly too heavy. I can, if I want to, I can sort that out just by taking the metal down a bit more, file it down a bit more, but I'm not going to, because at the end of the day it's not a fighting tool for me. It's just an example of a Celtic sword, so the weight and that doesn't bother me. I plan to make a dagger, which I've never made before, so that's my next project for John in America. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Watch this space, so they say. And of course, anything else I think I'm going to make.